For those of you that have never been here before or have been or didn't read the description, that's fine. This is called the Mental Health Happyish Hour. That means these stories tend to be centered on mental health stuff, but you get to decide what that means. I'm not here to say what is and what is not a mental health story. Typically, they are 7-ish minutes. If you go a little over, that's okay. Nobody's got a cane, but I just want to give as many people an opportunity to tell a story tonight. We've got Patricia, Christopher, Erica, Margaret, Jameer, and am I missing anybody? Those 5, maybe one more. That is performance art that I'm going to mute.
My hair not cooperating.
Think we're going to have to, should I say goodbye to Terry? Is that a fair thing to do? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I don't like to do that, right?
I know, but
that was interesting.
It was performance art.
I mean, it is also possible in all seriousness that Terry needs to be here right now. So
well,
I might have just fucked up. I'll be straight with you about that.
I don't think you did.
Decision. Hope it was the right one.
Yeah, I don't think you did.
Okay. Hi, Jenna. Hi, Jessica. Yeah, and so, most of you have been here before, but people stay on mute when the storyteller is telling their story. And then at the end, we hang out a little bit. And one of the reasons I like this event is that people have an opportunity to tell their stories. Hopefully everyone here is listening. I can't make you do that. Hopefully you are. And then afterwards, we talk about some of the stuff if you're open to that. You don't have to by any means. This might be a story you want to tell and that's it. Done. No problem. But you'll let us know, because I think sometimes there's opportunities to help us better understand. I don't want to use the word educate, but connect to in that way. And I tend to lean on Mary for my 99 seconds. I was about to ask you, Mary, did I leave anything out? Because I do that with the 99-second slam.
I know. No, you explained it well as usual.
There are no real rules here. This is an open mic.
Right.
Yeah. I will just ask that you don't go on too long. I know not everybody's like super rehearsed, but it's a little unfair if it goes for like 20 minutes.
Mm.
So do your best to keep it on the shorter side, under 10, 7 ideal. And if you are open to talking about it afterwards, great. If you don't want to, that's also good. And yeah, sure, Mary, I'm going to make you a co-host. I don't think anyone else is coming in, but I will, I'll make you a co-host.
Yeah, if you need some help.
If you guys have never seen the 99-second story slam, that's a fun event we have. So check it out sometime.
Please.
I don't think we've scheduled the next one, but.
Well, I'm waiting.
I know. I don't, so.
You're a busy man, Sean, like sleeves and stuff. I get it. I mean,
sleeves are optional always.
Right. Always.
So if it's okay, we'll go in that same order that I read it. So it's Patricia, Christopher, Erica, Margaret, Jameer. And if anyone changes their mind and wants to then share a story, by all means, you are welcome to. And that's all I've got. So let me mute yourselves, or I shall mute you. And I'm going to.
Sean, you're muted.
Yep. When I'm talking, I should mute myself. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. That was a good example, though.
So many people want to mute me. And I just went ahead and did it for them.
Right.
Patricia, I'm going to spotlight you so everyone sees your lovely face. And then we want to hear your story whenever you're ready.
Okay. A while ago, I decided it was time to talk turkey. Turkey neck, that is. I had denied that by carefully edited viewing for a long time. But one night I made 2 mistakes. I turned on the light in the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I gasped and jerked back and thought, what is that old woman doing in my house? How did she get in here? I looked again and anger filled that old woman's face. And I began to bargain. I thought, how far north do I have to move in order for turtlenecks to look right all year round? And I thought, how many mirrors can I get rid of? And then I thought, What about all those scarves that some people wear? They're tied in a big knot. They cover you from chin to belly button, especially helpful if you haven't done that enlarging thing. And then I thought, those things must catch germs like crazy. Why do people wear those? And I thought, that wonderful beard is just not an option for me. And so I became depressed to think that no matter what I can afford to do, that turkey neck is here to stay. And then I thought, reading in bed is not a bad way to develop one. And besides, most of my friends have their own. And so I began to accept the whole thing. After all, those young people have no guarantee they're going to live as long or enjoy as much as I have. I found acceptance so intriguing that I began to write and tell about this. I have noticed, though, a definite lack of pictures lately. Maybe acceptance is going to take a little bit longer. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Patricia, I cannot tell you how that hits me. Now, I know when I tell it to people, they're like, if they're a little older than me, they're like, look at me, like, stop. And I'm telling you, I just had this conversation today out on the pickleball courts. A lot of youngsters out there. A lot of young kids running around. You're doing it more gracefully than I am, it sounds like, Patricia. I'll be straight with you about that.
Well, it seemed like the 5 stages of grief were meant for this situation.
I'm going to be bellowing in grief for decades. There's no question about it. I'm not accepting shit. I admire you. Thank you for your story. Hope you can stick around. We want to hear more about the turkey stuff if you can hang out. And you could, of course, anybody use the chat if you want to communicate with anybody about anything. It's really good that you're here. I appreciate it. I know it's sunny in most places where you are, and thank you. What do we got next week? Next week, I got an event called Flash. It's like improv and story stuff. It's fun, and it's music themed, and we're going to do Motown. So if you like Motown, come next Sunday. It's fun. Mr. Christopher, who I met last week, I believe.
Yes, it was last week.
I am going to, you're already unmuted. I like the color choice of your room. I like the yellow.
Wasn't my choice.
Still nice. Still great. I'm going to stop talking and mute myself. You take your time and we want to hear your story. Is that cool?
Okay.
Awesome.
My story starts a few years ago when Robin Williams died. I was enamored with him since I was a little kid, and I got his first album, Reality, What a Concept, and it just took off from there. And I just enjoyed his movies and his comedy albums and his stand-up, and I just loved the way that his delivery and everything was perfect. And then I found out later on that he had bipolar, which was close to me because I suffer from that myself. And when I found out that he passed and the way he died hit me really hard. And I backslid really bad. I went through a bad time in my life. I didn't take care of myself like I should have. My idea of having to eat anything was I'd get up and I'd eat a couple spoonfuls of peanut butter and go lay down again. I didn't go shopping, obviously. I didn't do my laundry the way I was supposed to. I didn't take care of my apartment. The only reason that I got up at all during the day was to walk my poor dog Leroy. And if it wouldn't have been for him, I would have never got out of bed. The only thing I kept thinking about was, is this how I'm going to go out myself? You know, am I ever going to see my grandchildren, you know, graduate school at the time? Am I ever going to see my great grandchildren get married? You know, am I ever going to get to retirement age? What's going to happen? You know, where am I going to end up, you know, 20, 30, 40 years from now? Am I going to die with everybody around me, or am I going to die with everybody finding me? And it just tore me apart. And I didn't know what to do. I turned to my psychiatrist and I said to her, which was my concerns. And I said, you know, this is what's going on in my life. You know, I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. And I said to her, I says, is this how it ends? I said, is this how we all end up? You know, because he's not the only one that I heard of that went out that way. You know, there was other people that I heard about that had trouble and, you know, they died a bad death, you know, or is connected with something that they did while they were being under treatment. Like Carrie Fisher, you know, part of her problem was because of her drinking. And I went through that. I went through self-medication. And I said to my psychiatrist, I said, is this how we end? Is this what I'm looking forward to? And she said, well, what do you mean? I said, am I going to see my grandchildren graduate school? Am I going to see my great-grandchildren get married? Am I going to see, you know, my retirement? Am I going to see something meaningful with the rest of my life? Or is this how I'm going to be? You know, if this is how it's going to end, then I might as well be done with it now and stop all the suffering. And she looked at me straight in the face and she said, how do you want it to end? And I said, well, I want it to end on a good note. I want to be happy. I want people to be around me when I die. I want to have a good life. You know, I want to see things. There's places I want to go. There's things I want to do yet. And she says, well, it's up to you then. You know, you're the one that controls all that. She said, it's not up to anybody else. It's your life. You do with it as you wish. And the more I thought about it and the more I let it fester in my mind, I realized that she was right. You know, it is me. I still have my moments where, you know, I kind of let the dark side get a hold of me again. But I just keep remembering the things that she told me. It's my choice. It's what I want to do. It's not what I should look at what happened to other people. It's what I want to happen to me, not what happened to them. And that's what I got.
Thank
That's
you,
it.
Christopher. Yes. Thank you very much for sharing that story. Appreciate that. Where are you? In Massachusetts?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh, you're in Pennsylvania. Mary has friends everywhere.
It's true. I do.
You're all over the place. Well, I know. I think I could be wrong here. I think you shared with me that you were newer to storytelling. So I'm glad that you felt comfortable enough to share that story. And
Oh, I got stories.
I bet you do, man. I bet you do. You just need a place to tell them.
I used to tell people,
Yeah.
I drove truck for a number of years and I was a truck mechanic and I was in the Marines, and I said, I was all over the place, kind of like dog shit. I was everywhere.
Dog shit. Jesus. Well, we'll come back, yeah, and tell me some more.
Okay.
Cool, man. Thanks again. I'm gonna mute you. Yep, you did it yourself. All right, so we had Patricia, who resides in Iowa. She's still with us. And we had Christopher, who is not in Massachusetts, is in Pennsylvania. And now we're gonna go to Erica, Bloomfield in California. It's not even 5 p.m. there, Mary and others. I do the thing because Mary's my co-host in another
Yeah.
show. So I keep doing this thing, Mary.
It's all right. I'll help you banter, Sean. It's
Not
okay.
even 5 p.m., Erica. You're still here. I appreciate you being here. You could be out at the park. I just saw,
back.
you did. I just saw a documentary and I'm forgetting. I didn't just see it, but it was centered on Echo Park.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was. I think it was on Netflix. I know you live in that area, right?
yeah.
I'm trying to remember what it was about and the name. It'll come to me.
Okay.
Hey, Janice. Janice, shoot me a message in the chat if you want to tell a story. In the meantime, we're gonna spotlight Erica and hear her story. Whenever you're ready, Erica. Thanks for
Okay. I never read this out loud, and it's like choppy. We'll see what happens. Okay. I was 27 years old. I had been supporting myself for almost a decade in New York City as a waitress and bartender while pursuing an acting career when my life began to unravel. My boyfriend broke up with me. I lost my job, ran out of money, and was evicted from my apartment. I was drinking heavily and my behavior was erratic. I was bouncing from highs to lows, and eventually I broke from reality. I came to believe that my life was being filmed 24 hours a day, that microphones were hidden everywhere and cameras like in the electric wires that line the sidewalks. I had inexhaustible energy. I'd walk the city all day, ride the subways all night, talking to strangers. My ex-boyfriend called my sister, and I ended up in a mental hospital near where my sister lived. I thought it was going to be great for ratings. I had only been on the mental ward since late the night before. Early in the morning, I woke and I decided being locked up was not for me, and I was going to give the audience an episode of a lifetime. I stomped over to the nurse's desk and I said, "I'm ready to go, so I'd like to sign myself out." The nurse explained the rules, and they did not include being able to sign myself out. I replied, "But I asked every step of the way, every paper I signed, if I would be allowed to." "You misunderstood the process," she said. I explained I had to get back to my life. My life was passing me by. I had to get back to my boyfriend. I demanded to see a lawyer. She explained, "You are very much in need of treatment and medication. You will never get better till you accept that you are mentally ill." I told her she was the crazy one. The doors to the ward opened, and as the guy pushing the medicine cart was crossing the door threshold, I made a mad dash toward him, and I shoved him and the med cart over, and I got through the ward doors. Now, having escaped, I walked to my sister's a few miles away. I showed up on her doorstep. She was not pleased. She said, "If you ever applied the kind of tenacity it takes to escape a mental hospital to anything worthwhile, you wouldn't be in this situation." I soon ended up back in the hospital. The doctors determined I needed long-term care. A social worker helped arrange housing at a recovery center funded by the state for people with mental illness. I lived there and attended intensive treatment program for 2.5 years. I didn't come to accept my illness in an instant, but eventually, with the help of the medication and the therapy, I emerged from my full-blown illness and started to see things more realistically. And I was finally ready, and I began living on my own again. Slowly and gradually, I began rebuilding a normal life on the outside, volunteering, making new friends, reconnecting with old friends, and ultimately finding a career I love, teaching reading and writing to elementary school age children. And teaching has been a lifeline for me. But for so long, I lived in fear that if someone found out that I had bipolar, parents would be upset and I'd lose my job. Being scared to talk about mental illness is very isolating. I was so scared people would be scared of me because typically when we hear about mental illness in the news, it is not good news. I was terrified it would jeopardize my stability and especially my teaching career. But then there came this time. I was on a hike with a friend and co-teacher from school. For 3 years, we had known each other. When visibly upset, she told me about someone close to her who had just been hospitalized with bipolar disorder. I wanted to comfort her. I had never told her directly about my mental health struggles. What if telling her now had consequences? But I told her, and then my worst nightmare didn't come true. We talked, we hugged, and things were the same as they ever were. And in that moment, the desire to help a friend beat out my fear. That's where I am.
Awesome. Thank you. Hmm. Wow. Yeah. Woo. Yep. Yep. As she sips her, I'm guessing that's a iced coffee. Am I right?
It's sparkling lemonade.
Okay. Nicely done. Nice, nice, nice. Thank you for telling that story. Appreciate it. These are some of these stories. All these stories are not always easy to tell. I think they're important. I should add, and I should have told you this before, and I apologize. I am recording this. Doesn't mean, because I think people need to hear these stories. But this goes for anybody who's already told a story or will tell a story. If you don't want me to use this, and it's not getting like blasted out to the world so much, it's just like on YouTube or something, my own little YouTube channel. Let me know, and when I edit it, I won't include your story. But I hope you're okay with that, because I do think people need to hear them. But that's an option. Yes, Jenna, of course you can tell your story after. You can go after Jameer if that's cool for you. So we've got Margaret up next, then Jameer, and then I believe Jenna. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, and I haven't heard from anybody else. Let us find Margaret, who is in Maryland.
Yeah,
And-
Maryland.
Maryland, and it's easy to remember because Margaret in Maryland, M&M.
Yep.
Margaret in Maryland. Margaret, let me spotlight you. Take your time and we want to hear your story, okay?
All right. A beautiful baby girl with an occasional nose and eyes, as well as freckles, was born on New Year's Eve in Saigon, Vietnam. The baby was given away next morning to a 49-year-old single lady named Golden, who had been in search of a baby to adopt for years. Golden's early age, she was raped, pregnant, miscarriage, and unable to bear children afterwards. Many times, Golden had the opportunity to choose one, but none of them was destined to be the one except this baby. Only this baby would smile at her when all the others cried when she picked them up. She then named her Lucky Dream. Lucky Dream spent her early childhood as a mixed-race outcast. She went to school in fear of being made fun of, being called names, and get beaten up on the way home every single day. Lucky Dream was exposure to bullying days in and out, made her realize she would never blend into the society. She struggled throughout her adolescence with little hope for the future. She hated who she was. Oops. Sorry about that. She struggled through her adolescence with little hope for the future. She hated who she was. She felt worthless. In 1985, she and her adoptive mother left the land of their mothers with expectations of finally finding a home and looked forward to a new chapter of their life in their new fatherland called the United States of America. Lucky Dream had left behind all her hardship and difficulties in Vietnam and pursued an identity she always yearned for. Growing up in America, she was fortunate to make many wonderful friends and receive an education that opened many doors for her. Life was very good until Christmas of 2011. When her beloved adopted mother became ill and bedridden, even though Lucky Dream knew it was time for Golden to leave this world, watching the people you love suffer is one of the worst experiences imaginable. All you can do is stay by their side, hold their hands, and try to help them smile through the pain. As for her, Lucky Dream sat next to her mother's bed every day until the last day of her life. Golden passed shortly after January 2012. Lucky's dream whole world turned upside down. She struggled with grieving the loss of her mother. She lost all direction, and her life felt completely out of control. She felt helpless, like a scared child. All the sorrow just about made her lose her mind, even as she continued to manage her daily tasks. As much as she planned out her day to get things done, she always got distracted and procrastinated. Even though she was more committed at night by planning out what she needed to do the following morning and afternoon, she just couldn't do it. Her mind wandered throughout the day, and the days became weeks, months, and years. Lucky Dream thought of killing herself to joining Golden in heaven, but the thought of leaving the children behind stopped her. Every day, Lucky Dream relayed memories of her deceased mother in her mind, which caused her great stress and anxiety. She was in despair and tried to bargain with God to give Golden 10 years of her life. After all, Golden had taught her the importance of filial loyalty, as the Vietnamese proverb says, the debt we owe our father is higher than mountains, and the debt we owe our mother is inexhaustible as water flowing from its source. However, God did not answer Lucky's dream, her prayers. So she felt she had failed her mother. She felt guilty, hopeless, helpless, dejected, and worthless. So she became angry, irritable, resentful, silent, and secretive. She lost herself and she lost her mother. It seemed like everything Lucky Dream had once hoped for and dreamed for was now out of reach. Golden's death took such a major emotional toll on Lucky's dream and her relationship with her husband. Her husband, who worked 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. She hardly saw him at all. When the children were at school during the day, she was at home by herself with 4 dogs, and those dogs became her best friends. However, her grief tore her and her husband apart. They had arguments every single day. Sometimes their anger and silence could last up to a week or even more. There were times Lucky's Dream thought of getting a divorce and going to the Buddhist monastery, shaving her head and becoming a nun. But when she looked at her 2 beautiful, smart children, she had to ask herself, who would take care of them? What would happen to them if they separated? Maybe their father would remarry and his wife would take care of them. But what would happen if his new wife didn't like him? Lucky Dream felt no one could take care of her children as well as her, their own mother. Divorce would have traumatized her kids. Was that how she loved them? By bringing more pain to them? She went on her life like everything was fine when it wasn't. She broke down physically, mentally, and spiritually. She suffered from profound despair, sleeping problems, loss of concentration, lack of energy. She wondered how she would ever be able to live without her adopted mother. Her mind and actions were in default mode. She seemed to accomplish nothing. Life and family were hard for 4 years. As for Lucky Dream, she became quieter, angry, and more forgetful. She was depressed to the point she was unable to stop blaming herself and thought that life wasn't worth living anymore. Furthermore, Lucky Dream is an only child without any cousins, aunts, uncles. She did not have anyone to talk to about her suppressed emotions. She did not know anyone she could reach out for help. So one day, when prompted by a conversation of divorce with her daughter, Lucky Dream realized she needed to start seeking for help. She did not want to lose her family. She started asking herself the same question over and over every single day. What do I want to do with my life? What am I passionate about? What am I good at? Who have I become? The results were always the same: frustrations, unhappiness. What could I do to regain a version of myself that was better and stronger? How do I create a better version of myself? She asked. Lucky Dream decided to reach out to coaches and mentors and learn different healing modalities. She took Reiki classes, pressure point, and much more. She learned and practiced meditation daily, and she soon noticed she could manage her stress levels and ease lives with difficulties in a very profound way. Her healing journey was beginning. She discovered that by changing her awareness, she could become a better person who could live life by designs, not by default. Her personal experience of healing from devastation or grief and improving her physical and mental health inspired her to share her success with others. She finally reached clarity on her true purpose and passion. Lucky Dream felt alive, motivated, and excited to move on. She's no longer moping around as she had before. She visited friends and joined various charity organizations. Thinking back on Lucky's dream childhood, she can see she adopted limiting beliefs that she was not good enough, not important, not worthy. She believed that if she made a mistake or failed, she'd be rejected. She believed she wasn't capable and couldn't do anything right, that she wanted and needed didn't matter. And she had a whole list of beliefs like those. Those limiting beliefs anchored deep down in her core and poisoned her subconscious mind over the years. She had faced many challenges and frustration when things don't seem to go her way. She watched people get around her and get what they wanted all the time. It seemed like no matter how hard she tried, nothing went her way. She didn't know exactly when or how all the changes started with her. She was desperate for more, so she couldn't continue the way she was. She decided to take action and change her mindset. She learned to appreciate and love herself. What she did turned things around and helped her lead a happy life. She also learned that characterize our life as meaningful, we must make dream, decided to take action and change mindset. She learned to appreciate and love herself. As a reminder for everyone, you can make a lot of changes on the outside, but if you never deeply examine your mind, and start learning to love yourself, the changes were superficial. Yes, you can dress better, put on beautiful makeup, change your hair to colors to boost your confidence. You can repeat affirmation after affirmation, morning and night. And you may believe you can motivate yourself. But if you don't unclutter and reorganize your inner self and love yourself, you will never succeed in changing. You simply fool yourself into thinking you have changed. So by taking up the chance to love yourself first, you can inspire other people to make the same change. Most people are just waiting for a leader to step up, take the scary steps, and show that it is safe. Your life will be full of laughs. You will try new things because you won't be afraid to fail and get out there and not care what people think of you. More importantly, you will live your life to the fullest and have the confidence and grit to go after your dreams. So Lucky Dream hopes that you can reclaim your life after any traumatic life events and get back on your track. So change starts with you. And now is the time to take action and create change within yourself. Take a moment to feel that love inside you after listening to her story. And love is beautiful. And everyone deserves to feel it all. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret in Maryland. Appreciate that. Wow. Margaret going with the third person. Interesting. We're not going to get into analyzing craft here. We have other groups for that where we geek out on the craft of the story, but it was like, okay. Thank you. It's nice to meet you. And I thank you for trusting this space to share that. We've got Jameer. He's in New York. I think he's still with us. He's going to tell a story. And then I think, is it Jenna? Jen, Jenna Leff. I don't know if that's her first and last name or her first name. Jenna, if Jameer's here, I'm going to have you tell your story after him. There he is. Hey, Jameer, let me spotlight you, sir. Good to see you. Jameer was here
See you too.
about a month and a half ago for our 99-second story slam. We did well. Believe it or not, Jameer, in about 3 seconds, I'm going to stop talking. And when I do that, then you can start your story.
I can start talking.
That's how we're going to do it. All right. And
I think I got it down pat.
Now Sean's not talking anymore.
Okay. Okay. This is November 2020. I just moved into my apartment in Jersey City. I was living at my mom's house during the pandemic. And as a 31-year-old man, to live back home at your childhood space is a bit jarring. Needless to say, I was happy that I got a chance to spend time there because it taught me the importance of why I needed my own space. So I had been there since August. I got a new job. I was working at this entertainment company as a video director and very proud of myself, very proud of myself. And as I'm setting up my home in those months, I decided to call my dad. My dad and I don't necessarily have the best relationship. When my dad and my mom were together when I was young, it was really great. It was great to have my father around. Just because I got a chance to see two people who look like me be in a relationship that was happy, fun, and exciting. When my parents divorced when I was 9, it totally crushed me. And I didn't know how bad it did until I just started growing up and developing and realizing that my father leaving the house and emotionally abandoning me affected who I was and how I was moving my self-esteem the value that I put towards myself, the lack of value that I put towards myself, and just really not having self-confidence and not realizing that that's where it stemmed from. So now in 2020, as I'm seeing my career take off, my confidence being built, and a more healthier lifestyle, I needed to talk to my dad. And I invited him to come over. And my dad shows up on a Sunday afternoon, decked out in Jets gear, because nothing says a Black dad more than the New York Jets, apparently. And he comes in and he looks around my studio in Jersey City, and he adjusts his Jets hat, and he squints his eyes and he goes, "Woo, this is nice, Jay." I go, "You know, thank you, appreciate it." I grab him a chair, and it's a white computer chair that I'm sitting in now. And I sit on my bed and we begin to talk. When my father asked, "Hey, so what's going on with the new job? Give me some details," I decided to be vulnerable and open up and, you know, start explaining to him what I do. And a minute and 30 seconds into the conversation of me explaining, he stops me and he says, "Oh, well, maybe, you know, some of the people at your job will like the screenplay I wrote. Did I tell you I wrote a screenplay?" And my father starts pitching me a screenplay that he wrote in his downtime. Going back to being abandoned, that was in real motion again. My father had cut me off physically before, but now verbally. I had been in therapy for about a year and a half at that time. So in my mind, while I'm hearing him talk, I stay silent. One part of me is like, "Jameer, you've worked through some of this in therapy. You're okay. You do not have to react the way you used to, which was through anger, which is through acting on your emotions. You can compose yourself." The Brooklyn side of me was like, "Kick this motherfucker out your house. Because who does he think he is? How dare you come up in my house and do what you've done all my life?" So after he finishes talking, he goes, "So what do you think?" And I take a deep breath and I feel the anger rising. But I stay composed and I go, "Well, I think you abandoned me." His mouth is open. My mouth is open. I can't believe that that's what I said, because it was the way I've felt for 20 plus years. And I say, "You abandoned me." I was really angry and sad at the fact that, yes, you did come around, but you stayed away for so long that I was just gracious to be in your presence. I didn't deserve more than that. And I'm saying all these feelings and these things that are coming up. And at the end of me venting, I say, "But I forgive you." And I forgive you because our lives were pretty much parallel at some point. Your father abandoned you. And you went through life's obstacles feeling low self-value, not being able to be yourself. A lot of the same things that I've dealt with, and I see that now. I didn't know that before, but I see it now, so I forgive you. And I gave him a hug and I walked him out. And I remember him saying, "I'm sorry." And I said, "Thank you." And when I closed the door and walked back into my apartment, I like keeled over and started crying. Because it wasn't the fact that he said, "I'm sorry," but it was the fact that for the first time in my life, I protected my inner child. I was strong enough. I was confident enough. I was vulnerable enough to be able to express that and defend a part of me that had been left with so many questions. In 2022, this year, my father is currently battling cancer. And it's a mixed basket of feelings. Of course, that's my dad. And watching my nuclear family get older as I get older. And that brings up a lot of anxiety. But the one thing I'm happy about is that I was able to give him back the passed on trauma that was passed on to me, and not carry that anymore, not carry that anger because he wasn't capable of being the person that I needed. And I'm proud of myself today. And so as I pray for my father, I know one day, as we all do, we'll transition and he'll transition. And I'm happy with knowing the fact that I was able to forgive while he was still alive. Thank you.
Thanks, Jameer. Nice that you don't have to squeeze it into 99 seconds, right?
I know, right?
Sometimes some stories
needed
should not
that.
be. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know I'm always very wary to ever, I don't know if the word is compare. It's not that, but your story brings up a lot for me with my own relationship with my dad. And I'm like,
Yeah.
he's getting older. He's got some mental health issues, dementia. We had a
Mm.
falling out. Anyway, just makes me think like, tough choices, man.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was incorrect. It is not Jenna or Lef. It is Lena or Lena. Let me unmute you because I want to ask you a little bit. Who are you? Where are you? Where are you?
Okay.
Who is Lena?
All right. Is the microphone working?
Yeah, you're great. Where do you live?
All
Lena?
right. Excellent.
Yeah.
Right now I'm in Western Pennsylvania, in
Okay.
between Pittsburgh and Altoona.
Sounds like a poem. In between Pittsburgh and Altoona. All right, you have got a story, and then I don't believe after you anyone else. So then, for those of you that want to stick around, unmute and just talk a little bit. But nice meeting you, Lena. I'll stop talking, and we want to hear your story.
All right. Thank you, Sean. They come to me, the lost, the disconnected, the despairing, the wounded, the broken, the drained, the defeated, and the dead. Those detached from the present inconsolably feel fearful of the future, confused about their past. They drift into my rooms like shadows, spirits of their former selves. Some charge in full steam ahead without a thought or glance, unaware of their surroundings, usually not fully able to truly feel my touch, nor any others. We can all be like these at times, smelling with nose, but neither brain nor heart. Tasting with mouths, but no stomach for any food. Sometimes in my bed, they're awakened from long slumbers. Some jolt awake with a start, bolt upright, eyes wide startled. I hold them close and tell them that it has all been a very bad dream. I hold them to my bosom and rock them gently back to sleep again, saying, tomorrow is another day, a fresh start, a clean page upon which you can write anything you'd like. A brand new life. I stroke their hair and I whisper sweet nothings. Occasionally they are shocked awake by pain or pleasure, agony and ecstasy. We all need both in our lives, but most of us avoid entirely experiencing either whenever we can. We are afraid. It can be cathartic. Many have cried. I deal with fetishes and phobias, relationships, hang-ups, and try to help them work out the issues of their past relationships, find a taste of whatever they're looking for, if they can figure it out. I help them do that as well. I restore their self-esteem. I give advice from much experience with relationships of all kinds. I'm often a surrogate as they attempt to resolve the issues of their past, deal with their present reality as best they can, and begin to look more optimistically, with renewed hope, more refreshed, more confident they can find someone out there who can give them more than I. I sometimes employ hypnosis and or role play to help them work out their kinks. I am most skilled at reading them and drawing them out. I can feel what each man needs, and am typically happy to give it. I offer these services with, of course, all due professional distance. Eventually, I know that each of them will be ready to move on. There is a season to these relationships. When you think about it, my work sounds very much like yours. And who takes care of you? He asked, leaning forward in his chair. He paused poignantly for a response he knew would not come. Leaning in a bit myself, I smiled and I asked him, who takes care of you, doctor? That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Lena.
I heard
In
a lot.
Pennsylvania. Awesome. All right. Just wanted to thank everybody, tellers and audience. I'm going to put in the chat just a link to next Sunday's event if you want to check it out. It's kind of fun. It's called Flash. Short stories, fun stories, musical prompts, Motown Baby. I'm going to put that right here. And just a quick reminder, that's a long, clunky link. And for those of you that do not know, was that Mary?
If it gets them there, that's all that matters, Sean.
Get them there. And for those that you don't know, I have a podcast, and I share this because I want people to know about it that don't know about it. It's called Suicide Noted. I talk with suicide attempt survivors. So if that's you or somebody you know, or that's something you might benefit from hearing, now you know about it. Suicide Noted, Noted. Check it out. That's all I'll say. I'm not much of a publicity and promo guy, but it might help. So yeah, cool. Let us chillax. Thanks again to the tellers. And if you want to hang out and talk a little bit, learn a little bit, vent a little bit, now's the time to do it. What do you see, Mary? You want to vent a little bit?
Well, I was going to ask you, Sean, so this Motown Flash thing, so if I come,
Yep.
right, do you play music and I have to guess what the song is? Like, tell me how
Very
this works.
good question. Very good question. We've been playing with the format. The most recent version is I have a playlist that's all Motown. I play a song, a part of a song. There's no guessing. It's just meant to inspire you.
Ah.
Maybe it's the song itself, the lyrics, whatever it may be. It really doesn't matter. And then you hop in and tell a short story. They're usually around the 99 seconds. So they're that range,
Okay.
but it's not a slam, and it's okay if you go longer. Yeah, that's it. We just play songs and we hear that and we tell our true personal stories. That's what we do. And yeah, and I think it tends to be not only fun, but a way to generate stories. You know, you get usually people leave with a couple ideas for stories they might want to develop. That's always fun.
Yeah.
And then they get to hear me blah, 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 blah.
Which we all love to hear, Sean.
Nobody does blah, blah better than this guy.
No, that's true.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good night. Anybody else want to talk, vent, share, ask a question? Now's the time. You can unmute. If a lot of people are unmuted and trying to talk, then I'll ask people to put their hands up, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. And yeah. A little bit of a shy group, which I like.
I hope you guys can hear me all right. If you
Mhm.
want to hear more of my short tales, I'm writing the same thing over here. Then I will give you the link to my Facebook in the chat.
Oh, by all means. More work for Lena. Lena's name, it's Lena, but Jenna left is her company.
Well, it's Lena.
Oh, Lena, sorry.
No problem.
All right. Patricia, yes.
I think it's really fun in these years of Zooms that the one time you can count on storytellers to be quiet
Right, right.
is when you invite them to say something. Isn't it kind of fun?
Yeah, I've learned. Yeah. Well, the long lulls in a live show, you kind of probably don't want that, right? A lot, you just, there's
Right.
something about a lot, but in Zoom, it's okay. I've learned that. Like it's really okay. So you have no pressure to talk.
On April
Yeah.
27th,
Yes.
Northlands is doing their annual conference.
Mm-hmm.
Northlands began as Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, but has expanded and is the north central region of the National Storytelling Network.
Okay.
I've belonged and told at Northlands since 1981,
Wow.
and I will be telling a 25-minute story, a true story, called Sometimes Good Calls Your Name.
Only 5 minutes. Yes.
Sometimes it's your turn to do the good that's necessary. Sometimes good calls your name. You have time, come and listen.
Put a link in there, Patricia. You got one?
I'll
I
look.
know. There's all these stupid links. I get it. Bye, Jameer. Good
Bye,
seeing you,
Jameer.
bud. See you again soon, I hope.
Yes, take care, everybody, and great stories. Thank you so much.
Dude, thank you for telling. Patricia, we'll find it. We'll find it. We'll get it out to people.
Okay.
25 minutes. All right. That's hard to keep people's attention. That you got the skills, no doubt.
Well, if no one minds, I would tell you the little story that begins
I don't mind.
because it's what set my life expectations. Okay.
Wow. Can I ask one question to others before you
Sure.
do that? And then I think I'm certainly open. I hope others are. Does anybody else have any other, I want to make sure I get everybody in here, announcements on things that they're doing, particularly if it's related to story stuff, like if you're going out to IKEA tomorrow to buy a sofa, I don't really care about that. But I mean, that's cool. Go have fun.
Somebody does.
Yeah, I don't want to be a jerk about it, but always that place to let people know what you're involved with. If we can at least know about it, support you. I want people to hear that. Mhm. All right. Okay. Pat, yeah, not the 25-minute version, right?
Right.
Sure. Whatever you want to share. I'm curious about it. That could be a good teaser to bring us into the longer version.
All right. I grew up on Minnesota fishing vacations. I'm in Iowa. My family went to the same resort for fishing vacations. And one year when I was 7 or 8 years old, I was standing in the back seat at one of the best spots. It was right behind my dad, so I could smell that secondhand Camel cigarette smoke. 4 of my brothers and sisters are also in the back seat with me because this was in the time when we drove around in a steel cage and you just kept sticking the children in until they stopped falling out. So there are 5 of us in the back of that little 2-door car. Mom is holding the baby and we're going down the highway heading toward the Twin Cities and fishing. We passed a car where both doors are open. It's on the shoulder. A girl is running as fast as she can down the shoulder, and a man is running after her. My dad sped up, pulled in front of that girl, said to Mom, "Open the door." She opened the door, leaned forward over the baby. Dad yelled, "Get in." And the girl did. She was sobbing. She folded up on the top of the seat as though she were trying to become invisible. She wrapped her arms around her knees and sat there. We kind of moved as far off to the side as we could. And when she could talk again, she said she thought if she could go to the bus station and get a ticket home, she would be all right. So we went to the bus station. Mom and Dad went in with her and the baby, and they bought her a ticket home. The bus was due in about 20 minutes. Mom gave her some of the chocolate chip cookies that she always brought to keep us kids happy. And they got her, I don't know, pop or something. And they sat with her inside the bus station and waited until her bus pulled in. And then they took her to the bus and waited until her bus left. Then they got back in the car and we went fishing. Sometimes good says, it's your turn. Good needed to be done. We could, we did, and then we went fishing.
Good. Good. Great. So you're going to tell an extended version of that story. That's great. Awesome. Awesome.
I'm going to tell 4 more stories because good became matter of fact. You know, it's what you did. And then you went fishing.
Yeah. Good. Love it. Awesome. Thanks. Find that link. Find the link, Patricia.
Okay.
You have a task. Patricia's going to
Yes.
find the link. Other thoughts, ideas, questions, comments, rants. Rants are also allowed here now at this part. Sometimes I've learned people need a space to rant. You just sometimes got to get it out. All right. Now, are you going to be blow drying your hair like our earlier person? Maybe not. You don't have to blow dry your hair. No, not necessarily. If you have hair. I'm not bitter about that at all.
No, doesn't
It was
sound
a
like.
choice I made. It was a choice I made.
Mhm. Choices.
Sometimes it's time for good. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Sometimes
Sometimes
good.
good calls your name.
Sometimes good makes fun of my name.
Sean, no.
I just wanted to say bye to everyone and thank you for your story.
Thanks, Erica.
Bye, Erica.
Erica.
See you again soon, girl.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah, I should get going as well. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for
Nice
having
meeting
me.
you. Bye, Lena.
Bye,
Have a
Lena.
Good night. Now the real distraught. All right. So
I'm
now that they're gone, we'll talk about them. I'm just
trying to get out of here. Hold on.
I was gonna say,
all right. There we go. Northlands on. Okay. That's not the. I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to do a solid right here. Mary, would you go find northlands.net, find the event, find somewhere where you can link up to it.
Sure. Hold on one second.
I'll do it too. We got to get this. Here we go. Events. Where we at? What day is this?
April 27.
April 27th. I'm going to do it. Here we go. What is it called? What's the event called? Do you know?
It's the annual conference.
Wow, there's a lot of events on here.
Yeah. You finding it?
I see the Echo Tales story swap.
Nope.
I know. I'm looking.
Yep. I'll look under calendar. I know this doesn't make for the best.
That's where, well, that's what I'm doing.
Festivals, Bay Area, no. Why isn't my stuff on here?
What's your stuff, Sean?
I don't know. My stuff. They have a list of all these different things. My stuff's not on
Well,
here.
I guess you're gonna have to get that going, my friend.
Can you do
You
it?
have, you have to send it in.
I know. I just don't. I just expect people to do things for me. It doesn't work ever. I haven't learned my lesson.
Keep trying,
How's
Sean.
that working out for you, Sean?
Mm.
Fool me once type thing, right? What's the
Mhm.
expression? Fool me once, shame on you.
Yep.
Fool me
full
309 3,714 times, shame on me.
Hey,
Yeah. It's just that.
sounds about right. Sounds
Yeah.
about right.
I'm going to the. So what am I? Tomorrow I'm going to go drive to Asheville to go to the Moth.
Oh, are you?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Okay. Didn't you win one there?
Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah.
So is this the big slam or?
What do you
it
mean?
just- well, like, is this like the grand slam or is this just
No. Just another normal one.
so another slam so you can try to win again?
Back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know. You gotta get called. You gotta get a little lucky with that stuff, but you
That's
can
true.
try.
What's the theme?
Books.
Books. Oh.
Andrew
Mhm.
Shelfo, who some of you know, won in Boston earlier this week,
Yeah,
which is cool.
it's very cool. You got to come back for that Grand Slam, right?
Yeah. Well, whenever. Yeah, and Dottie O'Donnell will be winning one at some point soon.
Yay.
And Mary, if you choose to enter, you will win at some point.
Oh, you're a love.
Oh, here's the event. Great.
You got it?
Oh, Jessica found it.
No, it
No.
is not feast.
Nope. Thanks for
Feast
trying,
may
Jessica.
also happen that day, but it is not feast.
All right. Jessica tried. Thanks, Jessica. Yes.
I'll look.
That's
Make
okay.
it-
Yeah. No, it's all good. Dottie's going to be traveling this week. Sean's taking a road trip. Anybody else doing anything like that? Curious?
Not this week.
And is there not this week?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
No, the 99-second story slam, I was away.
Where were you?
I was in New York.
Oh, why?
New York. Well, there was a art event I wanted to see. Basquiat, his family put a bunch of about 200 of his paintings out, and
Wait, what was his name?
Basquiat, Jean-Michel Basquiat. Mhm. He dated Madonna.
I don't think they really dated, but
Well, yeah, they hung out together. So
well, that
yeah.
was that time with like Keith Haring and Andy Warhol, and he was a very controversial guy because from what I learned, there's actually a documentary on Netflix now about Andy Warhol. That's where I'm getting some of this.
Mhm.
Like some people thought he was this genius, and other people thought he was just this straight up, like, what's the word?
Sellout.
Not that he was a sell, he was being used.
Yeah.
But I guess both can be true. Who knows, right? I mean,
Mhm.
everyone's got their opinions about famous people.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's interesting. I think they did a collaboration that got panned when it first came out. So they never spoke again, and then Warhol died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And there was whole thing about his death too, and there was a wrongful death lawsuit around it.
Mhm.
They said, yeah, very interesting. I didn't know a lot about it.
yeah, it is. So that's why I was there, and I came home on Monday, and then the subway thing was on Tuesday.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So are you trying to prove to us that you weren't involved?
Yeah, that's it.
Like, you're
That's it.
you're among friends here, Mary. You're fine.
No.
We'll
I
give you the
wasn't.
benefit of the doubt. You don't have to, but if you keep saying it over and over again, now it looks fishy.
I know. No, actually, I was transporting a Catholic statue home to my mother because while I was there, she asked me to get her a statue of this Saint Mother Cabrini. And I got her a 2.5-foot statue and had to strap it into the back seat and drive it home.
Mama Dalba.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sweetheart, you know what you need to get me when you're in New York, right?
She
You need to get me the statue. I've
She
been waiting
did.
for 23 years already. Give me the fucking statue, babe. I know
No,
your
she-
mom doesn't. I know your mom doesn't drop the F-bomb though. 100% know that.
Oh no, she's got the mouth of a cowboy. She does.
Ooh,
does.
my
Usually-
image of her is way off.
Well,
you
she wouldn't do
said-
it in front of you, Sean. No. When
Right,
she's
when-
mad at me, then it comes flying. Yeah, she can swear like a cowboy. Mhm.
Mary has told a really nice story about mom and COVID
Yeah.
back then. Yeah, remember that one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're not telling as much. Well, you went down to that festival. Are you telling a little less than you had been, or?
No, I'm actually telling a little bit more. I had a time where I wasn't telling much. So yeah. No, I told last night at Riot Theater, Stories to Scene.
No, I know about that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I told last night there.
Good. You were the
Yeah.
guest speaker, guest teller.
I was one of them, yeah. Mhm.
Do you lose confidence at some point?
I have those moments every once in a while. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really enjoy storytelling. So I told a brand new story at the Women's Storytelling Festival. Then they had an open mic kind of thing, and I told the story about my niece and
Yep.
her elf on a shelf, which you've probably heard. The elf
Yeah, I
on
think
a
I have.
Shelf. Yeah. No, and it was good. It was fun. So she
And you
likes
prob-
she likes when I tell stories about her. So,
Neat. Did you feel good about the story you told on there, the new one?
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You'll share it with us at some point?
I
Not
will.
tonight.
I
some point.
will. I will.
Dottie's also been more involved with this stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to put her on the spot, but she'll be telling a story. May not be here, but it'll be somewhere. Oh, it'll be somewhere. Yeah.
Dottie.
And believe me, Dottie will drop the F-bomb like your mom if she needs to.
Yes, go
Trust
Dottie.
me on that shit. Trust me on that shit. Okay. Let's just get really clear. Okay. And
That's
also,
cool, though.
Christopher's probably like he's got a ton of stories, so he'll be telling
Yeah.
some more stories.
You will.
Patricia's been doing this for a long time. I don't know as much about Kathy or Jessica, but you're here, so thank you. And Margaret's telling, so cool. Margaret, have you done this for some time, or you're newer to this, or you've been doing it? What's your background?
Well, I'm an author, and I belong to an author group, and then I have a speaker had invited me to doing virtual, just like we're doing right now.
Yeah,
I did also on podcasts and radio.
nice.
But again, this is my, like today I'm doing the third person. I wasn't sure how it's going to go.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I would like your input on that. Normally I would do, as my own, it is my own story.
I figured
it's
it was.
also-
Yes.
It
Yep.
is in the book as well, but I want to do it in the third person, see how it is going. So what is your input on that? Should I continue on doing that, or should I?
Are you asking me specifically?
Yes,
or-
and everyone.
I can only give you my one opinion. I thought it was an interesting choice, and before I answered, I would ask you why you wanted to do it that way, because that would help me better gauge what I think would be best.
I want to try out different, so normally you would tell a person as, this is what I have done, this is what
Yep.
I've, experienced, this is what I have changed, and that's pretty much everyone else doing that.
That's true. Most people,
And I want to try something different to see.
Good. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, you're right in that most people do the I, and I maybe if nothing else, I'm used to the I, the first person, because the one thing that's happening in the story for me that's hard, not hard, but I'm wondering, she is talking about herself, right? But I'm not sure. And when I'm thinking that way, I'm not entirely focused on what you're saying. So that's the one thing for me that is the risk you run is like, do you have our full attention? Because we're like, wait a minute, I think Margaret's talking about Margaret, but no, so that's the only reason I would say, but I don't know. I'm curious to hear what the others thought. If anyone else wants to share the third person.
That-
I agree with you, Sean.
Yeah.
okay.
All right. But it's
it-
worth trying stuff for sure. Sorry, Mary, again.
No, I'm sorry. It was a good story, but yeah, I got that. I was doing the same. I was wondering, I'm like, I think it's about her, but I don't know. So I think I would have been more vested if I kind of had a little clue that was about, not that I wasn't invested, but I was like, is this her? Like it took me out. I kept wondering,
Right.
yeah, that's the only thing. So
That's the
Okay,
one
that's good.
thing.
That's
Yeah,
good.
you want to
Okay.
keep people in it, but
Yeah.
I think it's worth trying stuff and getting feedback from different groups and people just to
yeah.
sense it. And, you'll get different perspectives.
Yeah, because, this is my first time with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
And you don't know much about me.
right.
And so I telling you the story, in third person. So I want to see how, but if you know me already, so oh, that's her story.
Right.
right.
Sure.
So if you don't know
And then it's
me,
purely just a device you're using and we know it's you. When you're new to us,
mhm,
it's more than just a device, right? We have to,
Mhm.
ooh. And then you run the risk of us not being in it.
Okay.
If you were to tell the story again, now we know, then maybe different.
yeah,
Right? But
Yeah.
usually, well, for most people only hear the story once, right? We don't get to hear it a second time, usually.
yeah.
It depends.
Yeah.
No, I think it's awesome that you try stuff because there's a lot of people I know who they don't try stuff, and that's fine. I mean, hey, maybe it's working and they don't need to try stuff, but it's cool to try stuff. Try it. Do different.
Yeah.
Well, I recently heard a story where it was second person, the whole thing. I think it was Shweta, someone. And that's all you. I'm like, ooh, how do you make that work? And it's interesting, try it. Do a headstand when you tell a story. I don't give a shit. I don't know if it's the best choice, but I mean, try it.
Probably good for a 99-second story.
Yeah, put it out. Go do a belly dance. Try it.
Oh,
What's
you
the
just want to show your belly. No. That's all. That's
No.
right.
Not the top. That's not this show. But the most important thing is am I wrong though? I mean, I don't want to have undue influence here. Try it. Because you never know where the gold is. You might most of it now, but there might be a little moment. Like for Margaret, I'm thinking maybe she tells that story in first person, but there's a little part where she goes third person because it feels right to be a little like removed. Boom. But you don't know that unless you try it. Practice? Yeah. About practice.
Mhm.
What was that, Margaret?
Well, my phone's about to die, so I'm gonna head off.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for listening
Of
and
course.
your feedback.
Back.
Thank you.
Sure, anytime.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Have a good night. Bye, Mary.
Gonna have to send Margaret a bill for like $1,000 for that feedback. Just
What?
$1,500.
Oh
I'm
my
joking.
goodness.
I'm just joking, obviously. Totally joking.
All right, good
Um,
night.
Good night. Dottie O'Donnell knows I'm a monk. Dottie, I'm a monk. Not easy to be not monk-like.
I know.
Okay, Sean, I found the information. It's good that you asked for it because I had the date wrong.
Okay.
I put it in the chat. They're
All
not
right.
doing a conference. They've changed what they're doing. Monthly workshops,
Oh.
Fringe Fest.
Oh, so I see Katie and Donna and Laura. Oh, you're playing with the big, I was just about to say you're playing with the big guns. And I'm like, wait, no, Patricia is one of the big guns. Okay. I got you now. I see who's at this conference telling a story with you. Now I get it.
I've only been telling publicly since 1976.
Right. I love the way the humility or is sort of melded into that. Yes, 100%. You are I know, but actually, you've been on this, or I think it was this event at least a few times. Always great stories. Always wonderful. Always good. And it's not that anyone's evaluating anyone here, but it's clear that you've been doing it for some time. Let's leave it at that. Yeah.
I found some healing when I reached the place where I was serving as the keynote speaker to singles conferences. And instead of hearing the broken record, you can tell I'm old. I know what a record is.
Yes, you do.
She did me wrong. He did me wrong. She did me wrong. He did me wrong. She did me wrong. He did me wrong. I said, I've been married twice and divorced twice, and I'm not saying that's the best way to live, but I am saying it is not the worst. And then I told them stories. And when I finished the introduction, I said, you know what? It ain't funny yet, but it's gonna be. And we were off and running.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to work out some of my difficulties in public,
Yeah.
giving them a beginning, a middle, and an end, and found that very healing.
Yeah. I remember still one of the stories you told here, maybe last year sometime, about I think it involved your parents. And I was like, you did not hold back. You were like, I'm going to tell you about my life. You didn't use those exact words, but I was like, all right, not everybody would do that.
Yeah.
Not everybody would. There's some things people will not talk about. Hey, whatever you can handle, whatever you want to do, great. But Patricia was like, nah, I'm going to be talking about some of that stuff. Buckle up.
Yep.
Yep. Buckle up, Dalba O'Donnell. buckle up in the Commonwealth. We're going for a ride. And if you need it to be all smooth and sweet, you're on the wrong ride.
Right.
This is the wrong train for you. Go over there. Because I don't know what I'm doing right
What are
now.
you doing? I'm like,
I'm
what's
going on a bender, but
I
it's
guess
not
so.
good. Go
You're
over
racing.
there if you want the smooth ride. That's not what this is, okay? But meanwhile, you already know that. You're here.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted the smooth ride, you wouldn't show up to these events. You like the bumpy because life is, well, you know. We don't always need a Disney ending, do we?
No, I don't think so.
Do we always need a Disney ending to everything?
Mm-mm.
Does everything need a nice little bow with little perfume? Although that is very nice sometimes, nice perfume.
It is.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with a box smelling nice, but
Mm-hmm.
I just started working on one. It's a trilogy. It's the Buzzard story.
oh,
And it involves a Neil Gaiman quote from American Gods. It was on a t-shirt that my two sons and I shared and wore out twice. It's two buzzards. One turns to the other and says, "Patience my ass. I'm gonna kill me something."
nice. Oh, I'm still recording unnecessarily.